MTG and me, this is Charles, and today we got a little more information on the upcoming Guilds of Ravnica set, namely the key mechanics for each of the 5 guilds. So as you probably know from the recently spoiled Buy a Box promo, Selesnya was coming back with the convoke mechanic. Convoke's a returning mechanic that allows you to help pay for spells by tapping various creatures. Now, out of the 5 guilds returning in Guilds of Ravnica, that Convoke is the only returning mechanic, and Wizards of the Coast is choosing to introduce 4 new mechanics. So for Boros, we're getting a new mechanic. It's actually kind of similar in some ways to the previous ones, like Battalion, and it's called Mentor. Mentor is a mechanic that they characterize as being designed to teach understudies to be better and stronger. And so when a creature with Mentor attacks, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on another attacking creature with less power. I think this is a pretty interesting mechanic because it's going to give Boros a tool to make smaller creatures more relevant later in the game, because they can essentially ramp them up by attacking with larger creatures. Now, there's not much more to this mechanic at this point. Like, we haven't seen any cards spoiled associated with it. So let's move on to Dimir. So Dimir is getting a new mechanic as well. It's called Surveil. It's sort of been characterized in some ways as like a reverse or semi-scry type effect. And Surveil works sort of like that, but instead of putting cards in the bottom of your library, they just go to your graveyard. Now, this can support a bunch of like graveyard strategies or other type of effects. So it's like an explore scry. You get to look at the card, you get to choose whether to keep it on your library or put it in the graveyard. Next up, we got Izzet. Instead of coming back with like a convoke or another effect like that, they're going to be coming in with something called Jumpstart. So Jumpstart is sort of a flashback-like mechanic, but it also feeds your graveyard. So you can cast instants and sorceries with Jumpstart from your graveyard by discarding a card, paying the mana cost, and then exiling the card from your graveyard. So like I said, it's very similar to a flashback mechanic. The key difference is that it supports a discard theme. So pretty interesting. We'll see what kind of design space comes up with this. Last one up is for Golgari. It's called Undergrowth. And Undergrowth is an ability that cares about the number of dead creatures in your graveyard. Again, this could be used to create like static abilities. So maybe they'll have an Undergrowth creature that gets +X, where X is the number of creatures in your graveyard. Maybe it'll be a threshold-like effect where if you have a certain number of them, you gain some sort of benefit. Now, the second part that was interesting about the Twitch stream today was that there was some new information released on the Guild Kits. So there's a bunch we can glean from this. If you look at the bottom of the 3 spoiled cards, which we'll get into in a second, we can see that there's a total of 127 cards across the 3 guild kits. We should be able to start working on a number crunch as a community to see what cards have the potential to be reprinted. Again, with a sample size of 3 as of now, we're not really there, but it is something that we can be considering looking at in the future. So as far as the spoiled cards go from the guild kits, we start off with Izzet, which is getting a reprint of Niv-mizzet the Firemind. Niv-mizzet the Firemind is a 6 mana 4/4 flyer that says whenever you draw a card, it deals 1 damage to any target. It also has the ability to tap to draw an additional card, and some very traditional Izzet flavor text on the bottom of that card. It's new alternate art, and it's pretty interesting. Also have the new legendary frame. So next up, we've got a copy of Aurelia, the War Leader in the Boros clan. So Aurelia War Leader is a 6 mana 3/4 flyer with Vigilance and Haste, legendary angel. And whenever Aurelia attacks for the first time each turn, you get to untap all your other creatures, and then there's an additional combat phase. So pretty interesting, fairly strong card. Now finally, with Golgari, we're actually going to see a reprint of everyone's favorite planeswalker, Deathrite Shaman. This is a pretty powerful card. I know it's banned in a bunch of formats. Get reprinted in the guild kits, pretty interesting. 127 total cards split across 5 guild kits. We can probably take out 5 basic lands, possibly 10 basic lands for that if they want some variance in the art. So we're looking at maybe 122 total cards unique. As it is, the difference between the legendary or these legendary face creatures is somewhere between, say, 20 and 30 in the number count. And we're not accounting for the Dimir or Selesnya legendary. So yeah, pretty exciting day, pretty interesting set of spoilers. Interesting they chose 4 out of 5 new mechanics for the guilds. What are your thoughts on these? Are you excited for the guild kits now that we've got an idea of what kind of legendary creatures are in them? What about the mechanics for Guilds of Ravnica? Feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you could help us by clicking that like button and leaving a comment. And to support the channel, please click that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching.